So Amanda asked me, do you ever wonder if you have biological siblings? If so, how many do you think you have? I've also wondered about this for some reason myself. So Amanda is also a Chinese adoptee. I do wonder if I have biological siblings, just because I have two brothers, and I think it would be really cool if I did have a biological sibling. And I think it would be really interesting to ask them what life has been like growing up without me and growing up with my parents, and the little things that my brother and I talk about, Theo and I talk about with our parents. I think it would be interesting to talk to them about some of the same things that Theo and I talk about, and grown and just seeing really what life would have been like if I lived with them. I think it would definitely be interesting to see if I have any biological siblings. I've definitely thought about it before. Emma asked me, being adopted, I know all the questions you would have. How would you feel if your birth family didn't accept you, or if you weren't like them? That's so hard. That's so difficult. Like I said before, every adoptee is afraid of being rejected again. First you're rejected by your birth family, and then you meet this other adopted family, and then you go back to your birth family and they reject you again. That would be horrible. It would actually be horrible. I really can't even picture that in my mind. It's just so horrendous. Just so scary. I think I would be heartbroken, especially if I put in a lot of effort to find them. I'd be really, wow, that would be a lot of emotions. A lot of emotions. Sadness, anger, yeah, confusion, like really everything mixed together. I would really just need to focus on the good in my life at that point. Focus on the fact that my parents and my family now will love me no matter what, and have accepted me and will always accept me because we're family. If my birth family doesn't want to accept me and doesn't want to have me in their life, I can't do anything about that. I can't force my way into their life. I can't force someone to love me, to be my parents. I really can't. So why waste your time on that? I have a great support system, so I would really need that support system at that time. But with the whole thing about if they weren't like me, well, that depends. Are they murderers? Are they thugs? Like, if they're just normal people, but they just have different interests than me or different personalities, like, and that was it, I wouldn't not love them just because they were, like, different than me. Obviously, there are certain boundaries, like, I don't know, but if they were willing to accept me and to love me, but they were just different people than me, which I'm sure they are because they live in China and I've grown up in Canada, and I've been growing up with different customs and they've been growing up with different customs and things like that. I wouldn't really necessarily think of that as an issue. I would just think of that as they're different people with different personalities, and that's okay. It's the same as my family, really. You know, everybody has a different personality, different opinions, different thoughts, and as long as they love you and treat you with respect and everything, I think that's fine. I don't really see a problem with that. And so Kelty asked me, how do you feel being adopted has altered your worldview and perspective on the global community? I think adoption has really made me see that anybody can be loved and anybody can love anyone of any gender, any race, and any sexual orientation. It's really just made me understand that love has no boundaries, really. Like, love is not blood. That's a really big thing for me, is that I think that love is love is more than blood, and it's more than skin color, and it's more than genes and different hair and different eyes. I think it's just made me understand that family is family, and they will love you no matter what you look like, or if you're made from different chromosomes as them, really. It's also made me realize how appreciative I am of social media. And the thing is that, of course, there are cons to social media, there are cons to everything. There are pros and cons to every single thing in the world. But social media is really the reason why I have found so many people like me. And I am so, so grateful for that. I've met so many amazing adoptees through social media, through the internet, and have been able to keep in touch with them. And I don't know what I would do without the internet in that way, for that purpose. So many adoptees feel so alone, like they're the only ones. And when I finally found this Facebook group, Chinese Children International, which is all the people in there are either parents of adoptees or are adoptees themselves. It's just so great, and I've grown so much through that group and through that website. It's just so amazing. I've made so many friends in Canada and in different parts of the world. That's one of my favorite things, is that there are girls who are like me in my same situation from China, and they are all over the world. A lot of them are in the States. A lot of them are in Canada. Some, I know Bethan's from Scotland. That's really cool. It's all over the place, really. Spain, Holland. Like, it's just so amazing how I can reach out to people who are just like me and who understand where my story and where I come from, and the questions that I would have and the feelings that I have, and they understand that. So many of them understand that, and it's just so amazing how with just like through a screen that I can connect with people around the world all in the same way. And it's made me just really appreciate social media and the creation of it. It really has. So my last and final question is also from Montana, and she said, how do you feel about the stigma about being adopted? And just like the stigma with mental health, it's not talked about. It's not openly discussed, and it's something that people talk about it like it should be something to be ashamed about or something to be embarrassed about, when it really shouldn't be. I think for adoptees it's really hard with the whole stigma around adoption, because when you talk about it with someone who isn't adopted, you expose yourself, because it's this raw side of you. And then a lot of the times people will reply in a really negative way. It's really difficult for so many adoptees to openly talk about it. And then as well, you add in the stigma of it, of being embarrassed and being ashamed and things like that. For being adopted is something that you really can't control. It just happened. And making people feel like, you know, when you hear about adoption, it really comes across as, my family didn't love me enough to keep me, so they gave me away. And I feel like I want to remove that stigma, because I want people to understand that, yeah, maybe there were certain circumstances with the birth parents that made them unable to take care of their child, but that person, that adoptee, they're a regular person, and they want to be loved just as much as anyone else, and they're really like everyone else, and it's okay to be adopted, and it's okay to be different, and being adopted is nothing that should be shamed upon. It really shouldn't. And I am trying with my blog to remove the stigma by allowing people who aren't adopted to understand what it's like, and that I'm really just a normal person just like them, and just because I'm adopted doesn't make myself any less than them, and it doesn't make me broken, like a lot of people think adopted people are, and it just makes me a little different than them, and that's okay. And I've embraced that, and I will keep on embracing it for as long as I live. And if I see my birth parents, I'm still gonna embrace the fact that I'm adopted until the day I die, really, because I think being adopted has really just changed my life, obviously. And I'm really grateful for everything that I have now, including my family and my friends who support me in everything that I do with adoption and with my adoption blog, and the people who I reach through my blog as well. I'm really grateful for all of that, and hopefully I'm starting to dissolve the stigma about being adopted through that.